looking at this worked example, we have a circle. We're told that we have a diameter and two of the endpoints, and we have to find the centre, the radius, and the equation of the circle. Well, the first thing we can see from the diagram, we have two endpoints of a diameter. Now, as I've said already, the centre of the circle is the midpoint of the diameter. So we're going to use that information here. I'll write it down again. Part 1, centre of circle is the midpoint of the diameter. So what that means is that we have to get the midpoint of those two line, of that line, sorry, using those 2 points. So we have the point 2 minus 3 as our first coordinate. Our second coordinate is 6 minus 8. That's going to be x1, y1, x2, y2. And then from our tables and formula book, we get the midpoint formula. And we know that that's x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. And that's going to be 2 plus 6 over 2, and minus 3 minus 8 over 2. So I put 2 plus 6 over 2 into my calculator and I get 4. And then I put minus 3 minus 8 over 2, and that's minus 11 over 2. Minus 11 over 2 is 5.5, so minus 5.5. That's our midpoint. Now, the next thing we're asked to get is the radius. So we have two ways we can get it. So we know that the radius is the distance from the centre, which is 4 minus 5, to one of the points, 2 minus 3. I could have used the other point. Okay, so that's x1, y1, x2, y2. Then I will get the distance formula from my tables and formula book. And then distance is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So that's going to be x2, which is 2 minus x1 squared plus y2, which is minus 3, that's 5.5, minus 5.5 squared. Notice there's two brackets there because there's a bracket around the minus 5.5 and there's this bracket here. And I got my calculator. And I put that into my calculator exactly as it's written. So square root bracket 2 minus 4 squared plus minus 3 minus 5.5 close bracket, squared, double brackets here, equals 13 over 2. Well, it says in third form. That's very unusual. Okay, so I'll leave that there and see what it says. 13 over 2, if I want to change that, that's 6.5. Okay, now if I got that 6.5 and I was told to do it in squared form, what I could do is I could square it and say that it's the square root of 169 over 4. The other way I could do this is you could find the length of the diameter and divide by 2. So that means I will be using the points 2 minus 3 and 6 minus 8. That's my x1, y1, x2, y2. And again, using my distance formula, which is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And that would be the square root of 6 minus 2 squared plus minus 3 minus 8, again double brackets, squared. And put that into my calculator. Okay, so that's square root of 6 minus 2 squared plus minus 3 minus 8, 2 brackets, squared equals square root of 41 over 2. Why is it over 2 there? The square root of 41 is equal to the diameter. And then I divide by 2 to get the radius. Okay. Then, part 3 of the question asks me to get the equation of the circle. I know that the equation of the circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So my center is 4 minus 5.5 and my radius, I'm going to take this one here, square 1 of 41 over 2. So this is my h, this is my k. I'm going to put it into the formula and I get x minus 4 squared plus y, and it's minus minus, so it's going to be plus 5.5 squared is equal to square root of 41 over 2 squared. Put that into your calculator and square it and you get 41 over 4.